What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And it's good to be back. And I have to just kind of double check audio and whatnot. So bear with me. Alrighty. Here we go. Alrighty, well, what's going on? A very, very, very happy Tuesday, April the 11th. I hope everyone had themselves a good Easter weekend over this past couple of days. Want to apologize for not being available back yesterday. I took a personal day after everything that went that kind of scared over the weekend. It was a busy weekend for me. And excited to talk all about it. Let's get just right into back on Friday. Had an amazing opportunity over the weekend to broadcast live from a venue, which was my very first time doing so. Got a chance to head on out to the Community Arts Center in Fairfield, Ohio, for the production theater play called Love's Not Enough, where we broadcast live before, during, and after on Friday, and did a little bit of work on Saturday, and then I came back home on Sunday and called the Padres and Braves game on this channel. And then, like I said, because of the busy weekend, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take the day off and kind of just spend time with the missus and take care of what I got to take care of. And we're back again today. A busy day, excited to be back. And I want to first of all go out there and say a huge thank you to the entire team of Enlightened Studios. And I also have to say a huge thank you to the Community Arts Center for allowing me to come out and be able to broadcast live from the venue. And went in Friday afternoon up there. It was about a 45-minute drive. And I got set up and, I was kind of terrified. First of all, never done anything like that, which was remarkable. I thought so. And so I got a chance to meet someone, so I was very nervous, very nerve-wracking. Sorry, just getting my situation all here. So it was very nerve-wracking to be able to, go live, because you got to figure I was sitting at a table, okay, and the concourse out there in the lobby, and across from me was a jewelry table for a vendor, and then there was also a couple other vendors setting up. Right next to me was a setup on the right was for cast members to come kind of take like a blue carpet walk, followed by not production, with photos and whatnot. And then they had the tickets on the left side of me, and so I had people, and then also people behind me, kind of rambling through. So I really didn't know coming into this event exactly how it was going to go down. I had stuff ready for a program, but I wasn't necessarily locked in and set ready for a program. So I didn't quite know how things were going to go. Got off to a late start because the setup that I have here, right? I have, my monocaster, who, I have one microphone hooked up, and then I had to set up another microphone. Well, the microphone, you have to speak directly. So started off the promotion, and then towards halfway through the live broadcast, got some cast members coming over and set up. It took us about the broadcast time to figure out, all right, this is exactly what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. So, yeah, very nerve-wracking to say. But as soon as we started figuring things out, as soon as I got guest on the program, and I met up with one of the one of the personnels who were kind of keeping in tabs with everything that was going on beyond the production. And man, it was a great, things got to go, went smoothly. Did an intermission, a couple of interviews during intermission, and then a couple of interviews afterwards. Returned on Saturday for the first 2 hours, left right when the production started. I got a chance to watch Love's Not Enough's production, and if you guys missed it, it's a bummer. This won't be their last time. They will, hopefully, the way that things go is that we're expected to see them down the road, right? They're expected to take this production on the road in different states and different towns and different communities and spread the word. That's their job. That's what the overall goal is. After a 2019, original production, they came back this year. They revamped it, and that they didn't put on 1 weekend's worth. They put on 2 weekends worth. And watching the production play, listening to the message, listening to the cast members, and seeing how invested they were, really, it's like there's no doubt they shouldn't be booking this elsewhere in the near future. I was talking with Terry, their hopes and dreams of is taking it up to Cleveland and spreading it all around the East Coast, even potentially going to the West Coast. And this would be a huge monumental thing. I would consider this the first official big production of Enlightened Studios. But what I learned this weekend through the production is that this is much more than a theater production team. This is much more than film. This is much more than arts and crafts. This is much more than Enlightened Studios Incorporation. What I learned this weekend was that this is a family-based organization that is growing and is looking to grow others around them. Taking me, for example, the opportunity that is given to me to go out there, do a live broadcast, and just have this opportunity to grow my channel and my brand. That's what Enlightened Studios gave to me. And I gave back with the time slots and the availabilities of interviews and guests. Seeing the vendors out there, Enlightened Studios gave the opportunity for these vendors to get their names out there and sell and promote some of the product, right? So through and through, Enlightened Studios is about giving back. We talked about this cast, this Love's Not Enough cast, is about. I mean, you think about Terry and Enlightened Studios casting this play and this production, and you see that there is a vast majority of diversity held within this little family that's been casting these plays the last few months. There's kids, there's adults, there's people who have never acted before, there's people who've done more movie films than theater plays. There's people who have, this is a, first time acting, veterans acting. There's people who are trying to grow and trying to expand their knowledge and their production. They're all working on each other to build bring the best out of each other. When Terry put together the film Crime Fighter, which is available on YouTube, okay, you can, he reached out to the University of Cincinnati. He said, hey, listen, I got this production. I need volunteers who's wanting to expand and, get stuff, have a chance to promote themselves by being casting in this, film, in practice. Well, he was worked together with the University of Cincinnati's film company. So, and then what I've also learned here recently is that they also have an opportunity. They also like to give back to the community. So this year's 2023 Cincinnati Film Festivals going around, not film festival, festivals such as the Italian Festival, Taco Festival, and also the Celtic Festival that is coming into town June and July. Well, they volunteer and they like to recruit people to volunteer. And so I guess this is a combination of a promotional ad. If you guys are interested in commuting, volunteering at these festivals this year, these festivals are done at the riverbank of the Ohio River. All right. These festivals are weekend festivals where they have live music, great foods and drinks and beverages, interacting with the people who come out to support. So take part of it. And I would encourage you guys to volunteer. You guys get to keep your tips. You guys get to, get in part, be a part of the community. And so if you guys are also interested in volunteering, being a part of Enlightened Studios, who's given me this wonderful opportunity, and hopefully this continues, I recommend emailing Enlightened Studios at enlightenedstudios.cincy@gmail.com. That is enlightenedstudios.cincy@gmail.com for more information. And sign up now. Sign up fast. So we have ourselves a fantastic weekend, an incredible ball game we called, and it's going to relay into a wonderful show. What do we have to talk about for the show today in the next 2 hours for you guys? And the first thing that comes to my mind is that we got to talk about professional wrestling. We got a couple things going on, such as Triple H and WWE is bringing back the draft. And I want to give you my thoughts and my opinions. And is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? What can we take away from this upcoming draft? We have crowned new women's tag team champions. Congratulations to Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. And we're also we need to talk about Cody Rhodes challenging Brock Lesnar. And we also need to talk about the story continuing with Rey and Dominic Mysterio. So we'll talk about that today in our program. We're going to catch you guys up on Cincinnati baseball as Game 2 will be getting underway tonight at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia, to take on the Atlanta Braves. And the Reds lost in over extra innings. So we'll get a chance to kind of give you a recap of that, all the local stuff as the Joe Nuxhall Classic returns round 2, and much more, NBA playoffs and all that good stuff. So we have a good show for you today. But like I said, once again, I want to thank the entire team of the Enlightened Studios. I also want to also give a big thank you to the Community Arts Center for providing me, for allowing us to go out there and broadcast a live show over the weekend. I also want to thank you guys, the listeners who tuned in, supported the channel, and supported what we were trying to do as we try to grow. All right, so we're gonna take our first time out. Want to thank everyone who is watching us on YouTube. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Don't forget to hit those notifications and tune in to each and every episode as we progress. If you guys are watching us on Facebook or Twitter, thank you. Hit that like button, share it with a friend, get people involved. We want to get interactions, want to hear your interactions and your thoughts and your opinions. They do matter on this program. So if you guys are looking to comment while you guys are watching and want to be a part of this show, just head on over to our YouTube page, follow us, and leave a comment down below. We'll definitely read them and talk about it on our program, give you our thoughts. If you guys are also tuning us and taking us on the road, whether you're at work, driving, we thank you. Be safe, and we appreciate your support, listening us, downloading us on audio platforms as well. So we thank you, and because none of this would be here possible without you guys, the listeners. All right, let's take a first break of the afternoon. For 2 hours here, you have the throw-in, listening to us right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. $12:21 here on the program, and none of this is possible without the help and support from StreamYard Studios. StreamYard Studios is a proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can create podcasts, videos, host virtual business meetings, and even conduct interviews. Check out their free version today at StreamYard.com. So this is the first time coming back from broadcasting live, and one of the downfalls that I think of through my first experiences, I literally packed everything out there to bring in and to display. And because I didn't know what I was going to need. I didn't know if I was going to need, I knew I was going to need my monocaster, my laptop. I brought my microphone. I even brought my 2 LED stands that you see that lights up the background for me. I brought everything because I didn't know what I was going to need until I was there, to be honest. So, it was a fun experience up there at the Community Arts Center. I'd say the only downfall I had was the travel. I underestimated traveling. But I think once I got there and when I got the table that I wanted, and I got set up and I knew what I set this microphone up to be me, and then I have another handheld microphone. But that was like a cheap $10 microphone you'd say from Walmart. And what I noticed with that one is that you really had to go directly up into the mic. So halfway through, I switched microphones and I gave them this one because I knew they were going to pick up the sound much easier, and I was going to use a handheld one. I also took off my denoise that allows stuff in the background. But the problem I had was, and it wasn't specifically set for anybody, but I guess the problem that I ran into was I took off the denoise because I wanted to be sure to hear even someone that was speaking softly into the microphone, because you got to remember, we're sitting here at a table, and others, all right, people are just walking past us doing their own business while we're conducting interviews here, and some of them are very shy. I had a few of them like, I'm very shy on the camera. I got a very soft voice. So I was like, all right, speak up, speak clearly, speak into the microphone. If you have to put the microphone, on your mouth or whatever. And so I guess I dealt with a little bit of that. So I was worried. So I put, trial and error. This was my trial and error moment. And I haven't gotten a chance to actually go back and look at the production that we did. I know that there was bits and pieces that cut in and out. And so only thing for me, there's a huge learning curve that hopefully is better next time. And so I guess we will, I can't wait for another opportunity to present itself. But yeah, until next time, I can only get better at it, right? But it's a beautiful day outside, isn't it not? I'm gonna get a bit. I'm not ready for it quite yet, and we'll see what happens, because it's supposed to get up to the mid 70s and even possibly low 80s throughout the week. And I'm excited for the temperature, but yet again, I'm very nervous because I'm not one to really be in the heat. Now, I was out yesterday and then today, and I guess it was the wind that really saved me, a nice cool breeze. So, I had a good time. The weather's warming up, and I'm kind of starting to get myself to get out of the house. Can't wait for the pool to open back up. But yeah, overall, very exciting time. Going forward, well, you guys got to get out there too. Don't be glued into the house. I know it's very easy, but don't be glued. All right. So what's the first conversation we want to get started today on the program? And I guess I want to okay, you know what? Let's congratulate once again Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for becoming the new women's tag team champions. And so how this kind of worked, and let me just paint you the picture if you guys did not get a chance to watch Raw last night. It was originally supposed to be Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez taking on Becky Lynch and Lita for the women's tag team championships. And at some point during the opening segment, in the opening match between Rey Mysterio and Finn Balor, we saw Lita apparently got attacked behind stage, right, in the background, in the locker rooms area, right, where she was clenching her head and she was apparently injured and hurt, and therefore she was unable to compete in the tag team, in the title defense. And Trish Stratus had this luxurious idea that she was going to replace Lita and defend those titles alongside Becky Lynch. And I think as a wrestling fan, there was a jolt of excitement, because how often do you get to see Trish Stratus or Lita compete in the ring each and every week? In the last couple of weeks, we saw Lita compete instead of Trish Stratus. And so there was a jolt of excitement. And I was, for a moment, hoping that Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch retained. Now, there was the storyline of configuring out that at some point Trish Stratus may turn on Lita and Becky Lynch at some point. I just didn't know how quickly that was going to unravel. And it looks like to me we're unraveling that a lot sooner. And I don't know, and this is maybe where you're gonna have to help me out, you guys, because I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a bad thing. And for me, in relations back to WWE, this is all about storylines and the buildup. And maybe I have a little bit of a biased opinion when it comes down after watching an incredible 8-month storyline with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. And apparently that is still expected to happen, right? This is something that is still expected to take place at some point, right? I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm lost for words. After watching the Bloodline and Sami Zayn the last 8 months and the slow storytelling that really led into something remarkable and spectacular at WrestleMania, I was hoping that we can see a similar resemblance in some of these feuds, such as Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, and Lita. And I guess my problem is that I don't want to see this rushed, because these three women can do so much great things in the ring and could tell such a great story. But if you rush the story, you're not allowing the fans to enjoy the story. And there's really no title push right now for Becky Lynch in the near future, and that's perfectly fine. So then why try to attempt and rush this feud over? And it's only been 2 weeks since WrestleMania, since they just picked up a victory. And so I'm hoping for a longer storyline, but I guess we'll see, right? That's the ultimatum. What we will see what ends up happening down the road. My thoughts on the match, and it's hard for me because you have to remember that at some point, you guys, Trish Stratus is new. She doesn't compete day in and day out, and I don't know how much you could really expect from her at a high level, but there was parts during the match where I felt like it should have ended a lot sooner. I felt like the competitors were not synced together, and especially so on behalf of Trish and Becky. And I heard Corey Graves, state during the match that this is what happens when you guys are not synced together. The communication's off and things just look sloppy. And not to devalue credit to them for women that are in the match, because I think they're thought highly of. But I gotta say, I was a bit disappointed in the longevity of the match, and I was a bit disappointed in how the match ended, to where then we lead to Trish Stratus backstabbing Becky Lynch. It was almost as if they didn't know what was going to happen and everything was on the fly. And for me, that just doesn't sit quite well. It's interesting because I also believe that everything was focused around Trish and Becky because we were waiting to see what would happen between them two, that we didn't get to enjoy the celebration that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez had for a tag team titles. Now, the tag team titles down the road, I clearly see at some point Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler facing Liv and Raquel to capture the women's tag team titles. I still feel like that's it's something that you will see down the road in the future as soon as Ronda Rousey is healthy enough. But like I said, we didn't see enough excitement or joyful, and I didn't really feel it from the fans either. I felt like for a good moment they were, in a sense, out of the match, which maybe because, like I said, both being sloppy and both being a little too long in my my cup of tea. That's where I stand. So what's next for Liv Morgan? And not Liv Morgan. What's next for Becky Lynch? What's next for Trish Stratus? And what's next for Lita? Because I feel like the direction is headed towards. I feel like the ultimate direction, and I apologize here. I'm kind of. There we go. This is what happens when you reset all your equipment back up, and I feel like sometimes a bit off. But what happens when you have a now what happens next? So Trish Stratus, she didn't cost Becky Lynch the match. She just attacked Becky Lynch afterwards. I felt like this match should have been, after the match, right? So Becky Lynch gets a roll up. She gets pinned. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez wins the match. They celebrate quickly in the ring, and then they leave. Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus celebrates in the ring. Not celebrates, but comes to each other and say it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. They take a little. I feel like they take a little too long, and then Becky Lynch starts walking away. And as she walks away, Trish decides that she's going to attack her from behind and kicks her in the head, lays her out, leaves the ring. That was done. Very corny, right? So what's next? Because if it was up to me, and if I was the one who was booking this match, if I was the one who was sitting here saying, all right, this is how it needs to happen, realistically, the only reason I see Trish Stratus turning heel is because she wasn't the one that Becky Lynch, asked to return in the event of, hey, I need a tag team partner for these tag team titles. It was Lita who was the one that she asked to return on. And so what I would have done if I was necessarily the one booking the product, I would be the one turning Becky Lynch or Trish Stratus on Becky by not finishing the match, leaving her high to dry, or during the match, attack her in some way, shape, or form to realistically cost them the match and then just walk away. Like, I'm not saying that the way Trish did things didn't go off and as well as planned, but this definitely could have gone 10 times better if they took a different approach to the way that they handled the situation. I felt like they didn't really handle it as well. Would have preferred to see Rhea. Oh, not Rhea. Excuse me. I'm off today. That's what I'm going to say. I'm off today. But I will, something along the line of seeing Trish Stratus attack Becky Lynch in the middle of the match, costing them the women's tag team titles. So what do you guys think? Am I validated for my opinions there? Or what's the deal? What's the case? Let's take a break and come on back. And let's talk about what Triple H had to say back on Saturday, where he made an announcement on Raw about the future of the WWE. You guys are listening to The Throw-In here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
I'm ready From the day we first met, and every second from that on, girl, you know you've held my poor heart captive.
12:42 here on the program. Welcome back to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. It is Tuesday, April the 11th. I hope everyone is having themselves a good work day here. And we're just hour number one. We're talking about some professional wrestling, everything that's going on under the sun in the world of the WWE. All right, so, what do we understand here? I think, I really don't know. I don't know the direction that the future holds right now for the WWE. I don't know the direction of how involvement does Vince McMahon actually have over the WWE. I hear, and I haven't really paid attention to it too much as of late. Let me see if I can find it here. Probably not. I thought I took a picture of it. Maybe it's on my Facebook page. I saw something and it showed about let me see if can't find it. All right, so maybe I didn't share it. But I really don't know the ins and outs. All right, last week we heard that the WWE creative team is back under the threshold of Vince McMahon. And I don't, whether you like it, whether you hate it, as long as he is the CEO of this new company that Endeavors is merging with UFC and WWE, then that's it. I don't think there's really much other say that we can potentially do or hold that can change that factor. Okay. Unfortunately. And I say that because, we really don't know. I wish we did. And if we did know, we would be able to come here and say, all right, this is the timetable. Now, the one thing that I can tell you is that as long as Vince McMahon is reigning in as a creative personnel in WWE, then we could very well lose people. Right? And I think, I wouldn't say go hit the panic button, right? There's no panic button. We've already been through this before. We've been through this before where a couple of years ago, the WWE was in this creative slump. You could thank Vince McMahon, or you could thank the creative team. And when AEW was very fresh, they were the ones who got more attention. And then when the Bloodline started, WWE gained that attention. And it's going to be that back and forth, I believe. Because when WWE, and I'll tell you this, I personally believe when the WWE is on its hot streak, when they're doing things right by the books, when they're thriving, and whether or not that's because of Paul Levesque or not, people are going to watch. But it's something that we're going to, until we actually see Vince McMahon no longer be tied with the WWE, that's something that I think we're always going to keep ourselves on high alert with. And in every wrong slip up, we're going to immediately jump and point fingers at Vince McMahon. And that right there is where it's tough. It's tough to understand that, because this is the same guy who has kept this industry going for the last 40 years, put wrestling on the map, and made it a global entity as it is today. He's the one who started it. But something interesting comes out of SmackDown as Triple H made an announcement on Friday night in the excitement of, hey, we're bringing back the WWE draft. And I think to myself, and I'm like, is that the best for business at this moment? And there's a part of me that says yes, and there's a part of me that says no, highly. First of all, you can't have a split brand with the same GM. You can't have a split brand unless you have enough talent. And I think Triple H believes that he has enough talent. Now, I guess here's the first question. Is this Triple H's idea or this Vince McMahon's idea? Because if this is Vince McMahon's idea, I think it's shot up in the waters. If this is Triple H's idea, I say, okay, let's give him a chance. Let's give him an opportunity because he hasn't given us a wrongful doubt quite yet. Right? So we're going to be seeing here soon a WWE brand split again. A couple of things that I want to make sure that we are understanding when it comes down to this brand split. Okay, we have to have enough roster talent on the roster to do so, which means if we do, it would be a good opportunity to help promote this new talent, to promote, give the spotlight to talent that needs a spotlight. But a couple of things, has to happen, right? If we're going to have a brand split, both USA Network and Fox are going to want their own major title. So what does that mean? Are you going to combine both the WWE and the Universal Championship to one title and create a new new main show title? Possibility, but historically, by doing this, one, you take a title away from Roman Reigns, which has been the ideal part of, hey, I got both titles. Let me hold on to both of them, and I'll keep them both, safe. And it's been the image of this unified, undisputed WWE Universal Championship, right? And then you get to the thought process. All right, could Roman Reigns lose one title? Possibility, but I don't see that changing. And then how do you make this new title relevant? While Cody Rhodes is trying to capture this quote unquote dream, should only be one title that he's going after the capture. So, and it was with Roman Reigns, and I don't think that story that he has between Roman and Cody are done quite yet. We'll talk about it in hour number 2. I just think he has himself a couple of, points, check stops that he has to check off his list. What this does is that while Roman Reigns is out, while Roman Reigns is awaiting another opponent, Cody Rhodes could go through guys like Brock Lesnar. I say even Drew McIntyre, guys that have lost to Roman Reigns when it meant the most. And then it circles back around to beating Roman Reigns for the title. But this brings up a lot of interesting factors. I don't like the idea of a draft unless we have enough talent. Because I do like the idea of if we have enough talent on the roster, we can very well, split the brands and divide up the roster and go back to what it was 20 years ago, where each brand promoted their own brand, their own athletes, their own roster, and that was it. But if we're just going to every couple of months re-invite people from SmackDown to Raw and Raw to SmackDown, then realistically, what is the point of this draft brand split? Hunter promises us a bigger and better, like we've never seen it before. So, realistically, who's the one who has given who is suggesting this brand split? Is it Paul Levesque or is it Vince McMahon? I'm a bit concerned because, like I said, if we see Vince McMahon once again separate the brands, then I'm not buying into it. If we see Triple H split the brands, I'm buying into it a little bit. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, I would say, right? At least in my opinion, in my eyes. But there's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of questions that is going to be asked if, that needs to happen if this is going to be a successful brand split. Because it's been about 15 years, and since we saw an authentic brand split that everyone stays in their own brand all the way up and through WrestleMania. So unless we see that again, I don't know if I'm yet ready to buy into it or if I'm needing, I'm like, all right, I'm going to back out and just call it out as is. What do you guys think about the brand split, you guys? Should the WWE have one? Is it necessary for the brand? I'm assuming, and this is where I'm thinking, and this is kind of what's going through my head, is that if we split the brand, well, guess what? We have an opportunity if Triple H is actually bringing talent up or bringing talent in, that we have the opportunity of actually seeing, stars rise up to the power and up to the occasion. So we'll see. We'll see. All right, our number one's in the books. Our number two, let's take a trip around local Cincinnati. What's going on with the college teams as well as the Cincinnati Reds. NBA playoffs begin as the play-in tournament begins tonight. We'll tell you all about that and how you can watch it and who do you want to support. Our first takes. It's kind of interesting, so I want to make sure I break that down and give you all the information. The Cincinnati Cyclones clinched the ECHL standings. They are awaiting now postseason remarks as they finish up the season this weekend. And we'll tell you all about that as they also have and a lot more. Hour number two coming your way here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Hour number two here of the throw-in available on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to thank everyone who's tuning us in on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Be sure to also hit those notifications. Don't miss a single episode. Share it with a friend. And also, if you guys are looking to get involved into the comments, leave a comment down below on our YouTube channel, and we'll be able to let you guys know, interact with what you guys are talking about. And maybe you guys have different opinions than I do. This hour of the program is given thanks to Spreaker, presented from iHeartRadio. Spreaker is our number one uploading source for our program, uploading all of our audio platforms through Spreaker that allows us to analyze and distribute across all major audio platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and much more. If we're not on there, let us know. We'll find a way to get ourselves on there. Alrighty, our number 2 here. This is kind of what we have in store for you today. We have ourselves. We're going to take a little trip around Cincinnati, let you guys know everything that is going on, and we'll get you guys prepared for certain things. We'll also get you guys up to date with the NBA playoffs, and then we'll come back around, finishing off with some more professional wrestling, as I think there's still more to talk about as the advance of what about ourselves, what our thoughts of heading into Backlash, which is going to be in about a month. So, want to go ahead and congratulate the Cincinnati Cyclones for officially clinching the ECHL division, Central Division over this past weekend. They actually took 2 or 3 over the weekend, losing to the Walleyes 4-1 on Friday, beating the Wings 5-4 on Saturday, and on Sunday they beat the Fields 5-3. They have 2 more games remaining on the season this year. They'll be on the road against the Mavericks both Friday and Saturday, and both times the puck drops at 4 o'clock. So they will be coming home next weekend, which is my birthday weekend. Thank you. Where they will be facing the Comets of the games 1 and games 2 of the round 1 Kelly Cup playoffs. So if you guys are looking to get your tickets now at CincinnatiCyclones.com. The Cincinnati Bearcats ended up having an impressive, I won't say impressive. They picked up 2 or 3 against Memphis, beating Memphis on Thursday 6-2, and then losing 6-2 on Friday after picking up a 5-3 win on Saturday. They will continue the Joe Nuxle Classic today, round 2, as they get ready to take on Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio comes into today's game 9-24, 6-9 in the MAC, and then the Bearcats win or play 14-19, 3-3 in the AAC. Tonight's game starts at 6 p.m. Left-handed pitcher Carson Byers will take on right-handed pitcher Tommy Boba. So that's exciting for that game here. The Bearcats' home record right now is 7-6, hopefully, to continue that game up. Xavier Musketeers, they go on to a 10-game winning streak here as they end up sweeping, Butler Bulldogs over the weekend. Final score 8-3 on Thursday. Friday was a 4-2 win and a 13-6 win on Saturday, exactly. Matter of fact, sorry. They continue the Joe Nuxle Classic. Looks like to be at home. Yep, against Wright State. This will be played in Cincinnati, Ohio. First pitch is at 2 p.m. Against Wright State before they head home to play against Connecticut over the weekend. That's actually pretty interesting. Let me look into this. Hold on one second. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the schedule, and they're going to be home. Bearcats are going to be home. So that's May 18th. That's the road to the Big 12. We can look at the schedule here real quick. Hold on, you guys. So I was actually looking to get some tickets for tonight's ball game against I'm on schedule. There we go. All right, so they're playing Wright State tonight. Is it? No. Okay. So they're actually playing Miami, Ohio tonight. Is that tonight? Yeah, tonight at 6 p.m. at home at UC Baseball Stadium, and then they'll be on the road. I'm just wondering if I got the right information here. Today's the 11th. All right. Yeah. All right. So I just want to make sure everything was squared away and I got all that information correct. But yeah, so tonight, looking to get some tickets. Maybe how much for tickets? It's a Tuesday. Are they $2 ticket days? Let's see. Oh, come on. Probably like $5 each. It doesn't look too bad. All right, so game one. Oh, so game one is at 2 p.m. Oh, wow. Okay. It's a doubleheader at UC Baseball. It's Xavier. So this is actually pretty interesting. Xavier and Wright State will take on each other at 2 p.m. at UC Baseball Stadium. For game one, and game two is at 6 p.m. between Cincinnati and Miami, Ohio. I had to look into that. I just had to give you the right information. So that's actually pretty interesting. But yeah, if you guys are looking to go get some baseball tickets ahead, recommend going out to the Cincinnati Bearcats website, get some tickets. Okay, so today, let's take a look at the Cincinnati Reds, and this is pretty interesting. Haven't gotten a chance to really catch up on some Reds baseball. All I know is that they avoided a sweep over the weekend against the Phillies. I would have liked to take 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, but I'm going to be satisfied for where I stand just because the Reds, we knew that there was going to be a tough weekend on the road in Philadelphia as their first home opener of the season. And it was tough. It was a tough series. I think that they got better throughout the entire series, to be honest. And they were able to come back. And then that's what I think you have to be excited to hear about the Reds is that no, the final line score doesn't say that the Reds are improving, but there's little things throughout the season right now, even in this first 2 weeks, that we're like, all right, I could get behind with. And being able to come back and win the game in the 9th inning was like, all right, we didn't win the series, but we came off strong. And we were able to look ahead. Now we have to go down south to face Atlanta before we come home. And last night's game, although they lost against the Atlanta Braves 5-4, they took the lead in the 9th. And then it was bullpen, thanks to Derek Wall, who's been looking solid so far this regular season, gave up the loss. 1 hit, 2 runs, and a home run. It was a home run, walk-off home run to win the ball game. And to consider the Phillies, no matter what the schedule is, to consider the Phillies and the Braves out of 2 among maybe 3 teams in the National League East that look to be good enough and contend, and you could take, maybe 1 or 2 games, you could stay in it the entire time, because the Reds were sure in the game, each and every game, every series, every game in the last 4 days, they were in it up until the very last second. So the Reds definitely showed some promising signs. They also put up 12 hits yesterday compared to the Braves' 10 hits that they had yesterday. Graham Ashcraft went 6 innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Now, I said this at the end of the week, and I'm going to probably go back out and say this again, that I really like seeing Graham Ashcraft. All right, it's the Hunter Green, Nick Lodolu, Graham Ashcraft combo that I'm excited about seeing. It's, when we have guys like Luis Sessa and Connor Overton to be like, all right, we don't have to overexert ourselves. Then there's just something that's pleasing about this ball club. One concern that I had this year was if the Reds can go the distance and pitch into 6-7 innings before releasing into the bullpen. Luis Sessa went on Graham Ashcraft went on and went 6 innings. And if we could get a solid 6-7 innings outings by these guys each and every time, puts less on the bullpen, and I think we're in much better position. It's also going to be a comfortable, this bullpen is going to slowly start feeling comfortable. And when these starting, here's what's happening. The starting pitchers are giving the ball club a chance to win. Right? They're going 6-7 innings, giving up 2-3 runs, which is typical. And then it's the offensive power that is putting up 3-4 runs to match that. And then it comes down to the bullpen that we know is going to struggle. We know they're going to have problems, right? But it's about building their confidence. And I think that's where the delay of the season is the bullpen and their confidence level. It is going to get disappointing before it gets better, because what we are going to see is that our starting pitcher is going to put basically is going to put the Reds in a position to close out a game and win a game. And it's going to be up to our bullpen that's going to actually have to get it done. Yesterday, we saw Jonathan India go 3 for 5 with a run. But listen, when you're matching pitching to pitching with Atlanta Braves, you're doing something right here. So what do we have coming up here for the weekend? We have the Cincinnati Reds coming into tonight's game. First pitch is at 7:20. They're 4-5 on the season, taking on the 7-4 Atlanta Braves. Don't forget, this is the Atlanta Braves who lost 3 of 4 against San Diego this past weekend. Right-handed pitcher Luis Sessa will be on the mound. He has not recorded a win-loss. His ERA is currently 3.38. In one game, his first game of the season was pitched back on Tuesday against the Cubs, where he went 5 1/3, giving up 4 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. He'll be going up against right-handed pitcher Kyle Wright, who make his debut this season. Last year, he was 21-6. He was a 3.19 ERA in 30 games. He pitched 181 innings, and he recorded 151 hits, 67 runs, 19 home runs, 53 walks, and 174 strikeouts. I called the Padres and I called the Braves game on Sunday night. And one thing that I noticed is that I think the Braves are going to allow these pitchers to hit. And what they're going to have to do is just keep on getting on base, playing fundamental baseball, scoring in their runs when they can. And some of these pitchers are going to let them, hey, listen, and here's the thing. The reason why this game is going to be such a tough game for the Reds is because this pitcher hasn't pitched so far this season. This is his 2023 first start, of the year. So it could work one or two ways. And by the way, he's pitching at home, which he's going to want to have a great performance where he tackles on a lot of great, outs, strikeouts, kick off the season to a start. But it's going to be the Reds' chance to ruin that. And how do they ruin that? That gets to right, look at a lot of pitches, get on base, score in 4 or 5 runs, help Luis Cessa get through the outings. And we could go to game 3, which is tomorrow, tied 1 apiece. That's what I would like to do. See this ball club go tied 1-1 heading into game 3. It gives us a fighting chance to win a series. And when we talk about winning every series we can, this would be a huge series to finish off. First of all, to finish off the road series 3-3, right? 500. That'd be impressive. To finish off and beat a road series by beating a series against the Braves 2-1, be very impressive. You think about it, you're facing the Philadelphia Phillies followed by Tampa Bay Rays in the next 2 series coming ahead, and you really you do want to come home on a positive note, not just pulling together 1 victory, but pulling together maybe 2 victories. And this would also build, in my opinion, we talk about confidence in the bullpen and confidence in the rotation, especially the back end of the rotation. We have Ladola, we have Luis Cessa, and we have Connor Overton the next 2 days. Would it be a great way to kick off and finish off the road series by having these 2 starters that we really don't have high hopes of, to be honest, come in, prove us wrong, win a ball game these next 2 days, come home to Philadelphia for a 4-game series with Hunter Green on the mound, and have a nice weekend series against Philadelphia. That's, I think, would be ultimately nice to see. But we have to win tonight's ball game to begin with. So that's how it's going to work. All right, let's step aside. Let's come on back. The NBA playoffs is among us, and we'll tell you all about it coming up here. You guys are listening to The Throwing on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I want to give a big shout out to Epic Demo Sound. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epic Demo Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epicdemicsound.com. Alrighty, we are back here among a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, a nice chilled breeze moment. Some college baseball coming underway here at UC Cincinnati Stadium, where Musketeers takes on, I believe, Wichita State, and then Wright State takes on Cincinnati tonight at 6. Get your tickets right now. Head on out to the stadium. Support both Xavier and Cincinnati. It's basically buy 1 ticket for the price of 2. With that being said, the NBA bracket are here, and I want to explain this to you guys. So majority of the time, this picture is going to be overlay is going to be on. So the play-in right now is where we sit at for the next couple of days, and let me just get my. So here's how I want to break down and explain the NBA bracket. So we see the first seed on both sides, Boston or Milwaukee, Denver. Excuse me. So we see Denver and Milwaukee both had the first seed. And they don't have a first round bye. They have themselves awaiting to see who their opponent's going to be. And that's going to be who wins the playoff, basically the last team in both conferences. This is kind of interesting because the same thing happens for Memphis and for Boston in a sense. But what's interesting about all of this is that while we wait, which is almost about a week span of time, okay, while we wait, we see Phoenix, Cleveland, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Kings, the 76ers, the Golden State, Brooklyn, all get to wait and study their opponents. So in personal opinion, I'm thinking that those 4 games are going to be top-notch, great basketball in round 1 of this year's playoffs. But before we can get to that, we got to talk about the play-in. And the play-in is there are 8 teams, and this is how it kind of works. Okay? So tonight's game, we got 2 games. We got the Atlanta Hawks and we got the Miami Heat. Okay, who sits at 8-7 ranked. All right, Atlanta Hawks, Miami Heat. You see at the bottom right hand screen. The winner of that game is going to slide into the 7th seed to go to face Boston, and that game is on TNT at 7:30. The loser will go home to face the winner of the 9th and 10th seed we'll talk about here in a moment. Okay? On the other side of the board, bottom left side, we have the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. That game tip-off is at 10 p.m. tonight on TNT. The winner will go face Memphis as the 7th seed, and the loser will go home to face the winner of the 9th and 10th seed. So tonight we have 2 games, Atlanta and Miami at 7:30 on TNT, and then immediately after that we'll see Minnesota and Los Angeles. Tomorrow we will see those top seeds play. We'll see New Orleans and Oklahoma City. The loser's out of it. The winner's going to go face the loser of the 7th and 8th seed. And then on the other side we have Oklahoma City and the New Orleans Pelicans. And the Chicago Bulls. Okay, so New Orleans, Oklahoma City, and then Chicago and the Toronto, excuse me. Got them kind of mixed up for a moment. So tomorrow's games are really crucial because whoever wins and loses tonight, one's going to advance to the playoffs. The other one's going to have a second opportunity. But the one tomorrow's nights, which are going to both be played on ESPN, one at 7, the other one at 9:30, will go on, and the winner moves on and has to win again, and then the loser goes on and has to go home. So it's kind of interesting. And then the 2 games that determine the number 8 seed, right, which will be played on Friday night at 7:30 p.m., will be game 1 of the game 1 losers versus the game 3 winners. So game 1, so either Miami Heat or Atlanta Hawks, the losers, go on to face game 3's winners, Chicago Bulls or Toronto Raptors. And then the 9:30, 10 p.m. one on ESPN will be the winner of Minnesota Timberwolves and Los Angeles Lakers going on to face the winner of Oklahoma City and New Orleans Pelicans. All right, so where do I kind of sit among these playoff teams? Well, let's first start off with the first four. I like Oklahoma City, and I like the Toronto Raptors. So those two are going to advance to Friday's game. But who's going to go in the number 7 seed? I honestly believe that the Los Angeles Lakers could potentially win tonight's ball game. The question, I think, moving forward, though, is how deep can they run their playoff hopes? So if they lose and they got to face the winner of New Orleans or Oklahoma City, then it becomes a situation where the hopes become dim. If the Lakers win and they go to Memphis, they have a couple of days to relax, a couple of days to recoup. They could probably have a good series against Memphis. It's going to be against, but if they have to go face Denver back-to-back nights and, short rest, momentum may not always be on their side. I see Lakers winning tonight. Memphis goes on to face Oklahoma City Friday night. And then I think, in my opinion, Minnesota is going to go on to the number 8 seed. Over there on the right side of the bracket, Toronto, I pick winning. I see Atlanta winning the number 7 seed and Miami losing Toronto. Toronto will go up to the number 8 seed to face Milwaukee for the bracket. My opinion, my thoughts. Agree, disagree. It's up to you. That's what we have for the NBA. It's going to be, NHL's right around the corner also. So we'll talk plenty of, NHL. So, all right, real quick. Over the past week, we had XFL. Week number 8 conclude. The St. Louis Battlehawks beat Vegas Vipers 21-17 in overtime. Arlington Renegades defeated Orlando Guardians 18-16. The Houston Roughnecks beat San Antonio Brahmas 17-15 in overtime. DC Defenders take on Seattle Sea Dragons 34-33. Week number 9 kicks off this Saturday at 12:30, where the Vegas Vipers will take on the Houston Roughnecks. Currently, right now, in Week 8 standings in the XFL, in the North Division, we have DC Defenders leading 7-1 in the division. St. Louis Battlehawks 6-2. Seattle Sea Dragons 5-3. The Vegas Vipers 2-6. Out there on the South, Houston Roughnecks 5-3. Arlington Renegades 4-4. San Antonio Brahmas 2-6. Orlando Guardians 1-7. That is your XFL standings and whatnot. All right, so one thing that we haven't talked a whole lot about, and we're going to push until later on this week and start bringing it up because the NFL draft is on the way, is about some of these trades. Over the weekend, Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Baltimore Ravens, kind of maybe pushing the hope that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson can cut a deal before preseason. And this is going to be the off-season question, because I think the entire NFC or AFC North is affected off of the judgment of what happens between Lamar Jackson and what happens with the Baltimore Ravens. And it kind of makes it temperate, right? Their Ravens are going to snatch Jackson for another year if he cannot reach an agreement with another team, and if Baltimore's not willing to agree to those terms. But this is a intriguing story. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was not a huge fan of Lamar Jackson. Or not Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham at the beginning of his career. But ever since his run with Los Angeles, he's been I think he's kind of almost redeemed himself. I like Odell Beckham. And does the Ravens, does his impact on the team is that much significant that you could automatically throw that team into a playoff, nonetheless a Super Bowl contingency? I don't think so. But just imagine what could possibly happen between Odell and Lamar if those two guys play among each other. Now, as we close closer to time with the NFL draft, I'm sure, in my opinion, that we're just going to see every team wait until the draft passes us to see where quarterbacks land before we start seeing any finalized deals between maybe the Jets and Rodgers or even Jackson and the Ravens. But I think as days grow longer, I don't see the likeliness of, honestly, Lamar Jackson goes somewhere else. Because honestly, if a team wants him that bad, they would have gone out of the way and picked him up as soon as they could. That's the problem, right? So in my opinion, a team who would want Lamar Jackson would have offered a contract so big that the Ravens could not match that contract. And so the fear is that what team is out there, first of all, desperately needing that quarterback position and willing to spend X dollar amount to avoid the Ravens keeping him? And two, is it worth it? Is it worth the injuries that lurk behind Jackson? Is it already looks, is it the stamina that we see or the character that we see out of Jackson, especially since last year? Now, I understand that he claims that Jackson, listen, his knee was swelling. He didn't want to jeopardize it. That's why he didn't go to, to Cincinnati in the, wild card weekend. But for me, I would have found a way. You're in Baltimore. You could have drove. You had all week to drive. I still find it some sort of cynical not to show up. Personal opinion there. All right, let's take a break. Let's come on back. I want to talk a little bit more about Cody Rhodes and his direction moving forward. And for me, I guess my problem is that what changes if the WWE is going to have a draft, right? What are we looking at? And is this a direction because of that? And it really puts a damper maybe for me on his dream of winning or capturing the gold. I'll talk about that next here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Boss ass boss.
Welcome on back here to the throw-in on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, just kind of coming back from break. A little longer than normal. 142 here on the program. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. I gotta say, it feels good to be back. You kind of feel. I was debating. I really needed a day off yesterday after the weekend because Thursday hits, and I start packing up and I start getting ready for the program. I had everything rated, late waiting. I had a couple of things I had to do on Friday before the show, so I did everything. I jumped on out to the community arts center. I did what I needed to do, set up. I was nervous. I was paranoid. And then I, jumped into Saturday and then Sunday, and I was like, I'm drained. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I needed a break. So yesterday, just like, just a chance not to worry about anything. Don't worry about sports. Don't worry about the production, anything like that. We're kind of refresh the mind. So we're kind of slowly easing back into what we do best. And we're excited for the remainder of the week and what that week has to store for us. But, listen, we got to talk about some directions that the WWE is going down in, you guys, because it's a bit confusing because right now the storyline is still moving on. But yet we're waiting to see when the WWE draft is going to be and what's going to be implemented, right? And one of the questions that I have, what are they doing about the undisputed WWE Universal Championship? Are they going to create a new title? Are they going to combine those two titles for one ultimate title? Because we've seen how unsuccessfully, this is the only way it was going to work, you guys. I told you this back last year at WrestleMania when Roman Reigns beat Brock Lesnar and became the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Right? I told you the only way this is going to work is if that champion bounces back and forth. Doesn't have to be every month, but at least every other month, right? Go to Raw, go to SmackDown, go to Raw, take on opponents. And I'm sorry, I'm calling that a big failure last year, right? We have, and what's the future for Roman Reigns now? Well, there's been reports that he's going to take this longevity time off, right? But so I had to read that message here. But we had so many things that there are, so many things that we have to analyze, that we have to look at, that it's important, that it's key to look at. And so, are they going to split the titles up? But then, if they're going to do that, are they going to wait until after, the 1,000-day mark, which means it won't be closer until SummerSlam, which I'd be okay with, but yet again, I wouldn't. Would they create two new titles, one for SmackDown, one for Raw? Because when you draft this draft here, you're going to have to isolate those two titles to this appropriate brand. Is there a completely different route that we can see that we haven't been introduced yet, that's been hidden because of, what Triple H says is going to be different and better than ever? So what are we expected to see? Well, a couple of things is that Adam Pearce cannot be managing both SmackDown and Raw. We can't see. I think the only people that are capable or should be capable of jumping brands are the guys who have a title around the waist. And that's it. But recently they've been, ever since they, I appreciate what the Usos are doing, because ever since they won and unified those titles, you've seen that. But instead of calling them, I don't know, I would like to see something a bit different. Instead of calling them Raw tag titles, SmackDown tag titles, I like to go back to the World tag titles, WWE tag titles, heavyweight title, WWE championship type stories. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? But there's a lot of things that has to be done in order for that to happen. And if that is the case, then I want to see, what is the right now storyline for Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. So last night, Cody Rhodes comes out and kind of gives a future speech about what he's planning on doing in the future. His eyes, I think he's still, it would be a shame to see Cody Rhodes not capture the gold at the end of the day. After this run in the WWE, it's said and done, and he's off doing his own thing again, whatever the future may have for Cody Rhodes. To see Cody Rhodes not capture this gold would be a very big injustice to what he's put forth towards in the WWE and outside the WWE. I'm sorry, but that WWE championship is the ultimate championship of the world. And I don't care how many titles you have on the belt. I don't care how many titles you could carry at once. What separates Roman Reigns from Kenny Omega, and by all means, they're both definitely alike. And a lot of people will say Kenny Omega is better than Roman Reigns, and I don't question that he could be better than Roman Reigns. But what I think for me, what separates Kenny Omega and Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega never held that WWE championship. What separates me from MJF and Roman Reigns, MJF never held that WWE championship. And I'm going to get people saying this, maybe responding to this, and that's fun. For my life for the past 20 years, it's been strictly WWE. And I get it. AEW has their own rights. New Japan Wrestling has their own championship. Until they create a belt that's part of the free agent market, that you go to WWE, you go to TNA, you go to AAA, you go to AEW, you go to New Japan, and you defend that title, while you just jump to promotion to promotion. WWE has been the front and center of the world. And you've seen people come to the WWE from the independents to win the WWE championship, right? AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Sting, potentially at one point. And if you want to consider yourself the best of the best, you come in and captured. It was the world heavyweight champion for me, but now, since that is no longer existence, the WWE is that stepping stone. I still personally think, this would be a big knockdown of the door, but bring in back the World Heavyweight Championship. But before Cody Rhodes can now refocus his attention on that, because I still see a story that has not been fulfilled, and I still don't see a storyline that's completed between the Bloodline and, Cody Rhodes. And I personally thought that this was going to lead up until Backlash, where we see a 6-man tag team match between the Bloodline, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. It looks like they were quick to move into a different direction. And they're quick to honestly make you forget about Roman Reigns in the background. Cody Rhodes, for me, right? He comes out there, he can mention all he wants about Roman Reigns, but you know what? The first person he has in mind, the first person that's knocking at that door to get a hold of him, is Brock Lesnar. And he ultimately put that challenge out for Brock Lesnar at Backlash in May, on May 6th, I believe, which is the exact date. I'm pretty sure it's May 6th, in Puerto Rico. So, why? I feel like Cody Rhodes is going to have to go through, is going to have to battle the Bloodline and the rest of the locker room before he could finally once again claim a title match with Roman Reigns. Cody Rhodes mentioned last night that he has to earn his title spot. And he earned a title spot by winning the Royal Rumble, given. But he entered in number 30. This is going to be the chance now, the time frame, that he's going to have to claw and grind his way through thick and thin and through injuries. God forbid he has an injury again, because every injury counts, puts him on a step back. But he's going to have to claw and grind his way through the entire locker room, including the bloodline, to finally get that title back. Now, is this a year span? Is this a SummerSlam span? I don't know. And like I said, with the WWE draft, I really don't certainly know the proper direction they go in. And that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes you want to tune in and figure that out. Because if Roman's on SmackDown, hypothetically, and Cody's on Raw, and they create another title, the most prestigious title to win right now is on Roman Reigns. Right? So even if you go create another title on Raw, if these two guys are not on the same brands, you would either have to cross-brand them again, which what's the whole point of going on a WWE draft if you're just going to, cross the brands again? There's no point, absolutely no point. And you would also could figure out that, hey, listen, this is, you go introduce a new title, it's still not the prestigious. You don't want Cody Rhodes to go win that new title, because honestly, yeah, he'll be the inaugural champion, but it doesn't really do anything for him. It doesn't elevate him. He doesn't go on to win that dream match. I don't think, the way the storyline is set, and the way that the people are buying into it. And I think this is the only way it has to happen. He could go on for the next 3 to 5 years and do whatever he wants to do in the WWE. But until he beats Roman Reigns and beats that championship and captures that championship, right, which is now, I think, on the verge of it being a must, because could you see Cody Rhodes win that title off of anyone else right now? Absolutely not. And it would be intriguing to see how that works. I think the WWE has ultimately set up themselves to where Cody Rhodes has to be the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns at some point. And if he doesn't, then we may very well see. I just don't see it as a good story writing. Because there's really no one else in that locker room today that can dethrone Roman Reigns. The only guy, possibility, all right, Bobby Lashley maybe, I don't know. Braun Breaker coming up, maybe, but I think he's on a different belt. There's really no one else right now on that roster or out there in independence other than maybe a Kenny Omega, which doesn't make sense because it doesn't connect and doesn't relay back to this story that the Bloodline's been creating the last 3 years. Cody Rhodes is the only person right now that logically makes sense on winning that title and dethroning Roman Reigns. Please, name me someone else that makes sense at this point, at this moment. Because I don't see one. I don't. But Cody Rhodes is going to have to go through Brock Lesnar, which, by the way, we will see next week in Arkansas, as Brock Lesnar is set to appear to respond to Cody Rhodes' challenge. And I'm like, okay. So he has to take a detour, a couple little detours to get back to Roman, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. Gotta be. Can't be upset, can you? So, but it's going to be an interesting week. And this is, I think, this is what pulls us back in to WWE and what it makes us want to watch now, especially with this draft approaching. regardless of if it's Vince McMahon behind the wheel or if it's Triple H, and I hope it's Triple H, and I do hope one day that regardless of Vince McMahon is his name is associated with the company or not, that he'd understand, all right, let's let Triple H do it because he's bringing in money. But, honestly, this is for me, this is the reason why I keep on watching is because of these little tweaks like the WWE draft. And although it sounds ridiculous, as it may sound, I think it's something that we should pay attention to because I want to see how it goes and be able to talk about it. That's what makes this show possible. All right, 2 hours have come and gone. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We'll be back again tomorrow as well as the rest of the week. Xavier and Wichita State, about to get underway here for college baseball. And we also see Cincinnati and Wright State later on this afternoon in the Joe Nuxel Classic. I'll be back again tomorrow. NXT is tonight. Is it the Grayson Waller effect? We'll come to find out. Talk all about that tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throne here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.